really two questions here. Number one is, will the DA in Manhattan move forward with a new trial? And number two, could this impact the California conviction? Because they're going to appeal that one, and you know they're going to cite this opinion. Joining us now, Jesse Weber, attorney and anchor for the Law and Crime Network, also a NewsNation legal contributor, and Misty Marish, she's a trial attorney and legal analyst, and back with us is veteran journalist Geraldo Rivera. Geraldo, let me start with you on this. Just big picture, are you surprised by the ruling, and what do you think happens now?
I'm not at all surprised, Dan. This was the Me Too movement run amok. The judge was petrified by the politics involved. Weinstein, enormously unpopular, a noxious person. It couldn't happen to a more rotten person. I was, however, shocked and as a lawyer, outraged by the fact that they caved to the politics of it, and they allowed all these women who had nothing to do with this trial to testify. And worse than that, Dan, not only was he facing people who did not file criminal complaints against him, totally unrelated to the cases that were filed, he was told after the various hearings, the Sandoval hearing and so forth, that if he cross-examined the women, he would be cross-examining himself about their allegations. So he had to sit silent when three women came and gave their testimony that was unrelated to the complainants in this case.
Misty,
it was absolutely, it was so unfair.
I thought it was a close call. I wasn't shocked when the Court of Appeals ruled what it did, but I also thought it was a close call for the judge. Thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. It was a close call, but I wasn't surprised at all that this was a result. As a New York practitioner, prior bad acts coming in, it is a very, very narrow set of circumstances that happens. And so in this case, when we were watching the trial and it was allowed in, it was always going to put that verdict in potential peril.
And this happened in the Bill Cosby case, by the way, as well. Same issue, same result in a conviction getting overturned.
So, Dan, I covered the Harvey Weinstein trial. I was in the courtroom almost every day. I couldn't, and I say this as somebody who's not saying Harvey Weinstein is innocent. This is not a defense. This is 100% the right decision. And I was concerned at the time when the judge was allowing this in that this could happen. And when you talk about the prior bad acts witnesses, like these Molyneux witnesses, it wasn't just that, you allow it. Their circumstances, what they testified to, were completely different than the three complainants, the three women who actually brought the charges. And what Harvey Weinstein would be cross-examined, it wasn't just about their testimony. They'd be allowed to cross-examine about fights that he had, screaming matches, him getting out of business deals, him attacking his brother, how any of that is relevant to his credibility. But the judge, James Burke, and I have to tell you this, I'm in that courtroom, there were many times he did things that looked biased towards the defense. And I think a lot of us were saying it seems strange. There was a moment in the courtroom, it was freezing, and I remember defense counsel for Harvey Weinstein said, "Can you shut the window?" And he mocked them and wouldn't do it. And I said to myself, it felt like it crossed the line. And obviously you wouldn't be able to get an appeal on that, but it kind of was a symptom of a larger problem.
And let me play a piece of sound. This is Jessica Mann, who testified for days in the 2020 trial. She spoke to NewsNation in 2021, was actually asked about the possibility of this happening. Let's listen.
Harvey Weinstein has submitted an appeal. He says he did not receive a fair trial and that his constitutional rights were violated. How do you respond to that?
Just so typical. He's looking for the loopholes, anything he can find, and at this point it's not a surprise. It's the 100+ voices of women who never knew each other, who never spoke, who lived in the dark and hid this shame and dealt with this trauma, attest to the fact that this man is not innocent. So he's delusional.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.